Good morning! I know the setup yesterday was perfect, but let's come back in our kitchen. Uh, it allows us to be closer, you see? Marketing strategy. So, today I want to talk about persona, buyer persona, and how to create your buyer persona. So first, what is a buyer persona? A buyer persona is your ideal customer. By ideal customer, we mean the person your product fits the best. Like someone has a problem, a want or a need in their life, and they need to solve this problem to answer their need, answer what they want. So your product is the perfect one for them. Not only because it will solve their problem, because it will solve their problem in the way they want your product to solve it. Think about the entire experience you will provide. The branding is speaking to your customer. Okay? So, your buyer persona should be defined in your marketing strategy. Why? Because you need to understand who is this person who will buy your product and like your product and stay loyal to your brand and advocate your brand. If your product is not good for the person, your product can be the best, but the story behind the experience you provide, the way maybe you talk to the customer, doesn't fit the person. Your product can be the best, the review of the person will be bad for you, okay? And you will develop negative word of mouth. So, example, if your brand is very close to the customer, very let's say familiar, you're talking in a familiar language, and you're using familiar narrative, like you're very direct, but the customer is someone who wants you to talk to him with more distance, okay? Your brand can be very good, your marketing can be very good, but it will not fit with how the person wants to be treated. Okay, so in order to identify who is your best customer, your perfect buyer persona, you have some techniques. So you can analyze your data. You can know your demographic. For example, when you go on Google Analytics, you can know data from your website. You also have data from Instagram. You can know who buys from you, all they are, what is their gender, where do they come from, and this is the basics. For example, you have a sneaker brand. You want to know who is buying your sneakers. Maybe it's gonna be women between 18 and 25 mostly, and you didn't expect this because maybe your sneakers, when you were creating them, were for men. So the way you think your brand can be different once entered in the market. It happened a lot of time where brand created some product, and the product were not purchased by the customer they expected them to purchase. I don't know if you know this brand V8. V8 is a vegetable beverage from Campbell. So Campbell were selling those vegetable beverage as a way to simply be healthy, like any other beverage, like vegetable beverage. You buy a tomato juice, for example, because you want to be healthy. And they were marketing, they were doing their marketing like this, like saying, okay, we have a vegetable beverage. If you choose our beverage, you're gonna have a healthy lifestyle. But then they discovered, the brand V8 discovered that people were not buying their tomato juice to be healthy. They were buying the tomato juice mostly to save time. So by in their advertisement, by speaking about saving time much more than being healthy, they got, something different in the market. They knew how to speak to their customer better, because this is why the customer were using the brand. This is what the customer wanted to hear to continue purchasing the brand, and this is what many people who are not customers wanted to hear to start buying the brand. So basically, the sales of V8 were multiplied by, let me check, I think it was multiplied by 4. The sales quadrupled within a year. Can you imagine this? So, you see it. So this brand understood first, in the first time, they understood customer the same way they were thinking, the same way people in the company were thinking. But the way people in the company are thinking is not necessarily the same way your customer think about your brand, and it's not necessarily also for the same reason that they buy your brand. That's why we do marketing research, and that's why you have to define your buyer persona, and you should have several buyer persona. For example, if I am renting apartment in Shanghai, depending on the type of product I'm renting, it can be a studio for a student or a big apartment in the city center. I'm gonna have several persona. If I am renting a big apartment in the city center, I can rent this big apartment to either Chinese family or foreigners, expatriate family. And the way I'm going to talk to them will be different. Okay? That's why we have 2 persona, because we first identify who are the buyer persona. They're gonna rent, they're gonna buy, they're gonna take your services for different reasons, and according to those reasons, those needs, those wants, we're gonna develop the marketing. We're gonna speak to each persona in different manners, in different ways. We're gonna use different arguments. We're gonna provide different experiences, and it can be from the type of narratives you use to the type of colors you will use, anything. I hope it's clear. It's already 9 minutes I'm speaking, but I really hope that you understand what is a buyer persona, why it is useful for in marketing, but also in sales. You're not selling the same way to different person, right? And I hope you understand let's say, I hope it makes you think about different techniques, right, to identify your buyer persona. I talk about analyzing your data, so from social media or from your website, but you can also doing interview, directly asking your customer to give you feedback about the experience, asking them why do they choose to buy your product. And you can also use, let's say, your team, if you have vendor, so vendor that are face to face to the customer, you can ask them, what are your feeling, what do you think about the reason why the customer is buying the product, or as well what type of problem do the customer encounter. Okay, so the buyer persona basically are summarized in a document where you have their age, gender. We also give them a name. Like it can be generally 18 years old. Then you have what she likes in general. She likes music or reading magazines. And the more you know about details, details about their lives, their interests, the more you're able to understand your customer and provide them the best experience possible. I have to stop speaking because it's been 11 minutes. So, have a good day. I hope this video is useful for you.